So now we're going to talk about compound interest. So you will need a calculator for these problems. We have two formulas to calculate compound interest, and it has to do with how it's compounded, okay? So we'll talk about the formula on the left first, and I'll explain what it means. But it's an example, as you know, say you have $5,000 you inherited, so you stick it in an account that's earning, 3%, and they compound it, quarterly or something like that. Then you could figure out after, 20 years how much money is going to be in your account. Okay, so that's what these formulas do. But we can't use the formula till we know what all the pieces mean. So A represents, we say, oops, I'm going to use colons. A is the amount in the account. So, after 5 years, how much money is in that account, okay? P is the principal. It's how much you started with. So in the example I was telling you, if you inherited $5,000, that $5,000 would be the principal, okay? You're going to put it in this bank. All right, the 1 in the formula, that actually represents the amount you started with, and you're hoping this increases because you're earning interest, right? R represents the rate of interest. Now, in my example, I said, okay, it's earning 3%. Then R would equal 0.3, because you have to change it to a decimal number. Okay, so, I'm sorry, it's 0.03, and that's a big mistake. Okay, so it'd be 0.03, there we go. That represents the 3%, okay? N is the number of times it's compounded in a year. So my example was quarterly, that'd be 4 times a year. If it were monthly, that'd be 12 times a year. If it were daily, that'd be 365 times a year, okay? And notice that the N is used here, and it's also used up in the exponent. All right, whoops, gonna run out of room. T is for time in years. So if you're going to leave it in for 10 years, T would be 10. If you're going to leave it in for 20 years, T would be 20. Okay? All right, so that's what everything means, and I'll show you how to put these in your calculator. This other formula is kind of special. You notice that it's got the E in it. It looks a little simpler than the first formula, but it has that number, that natural number E in there. P is still the principal, R is still the rate, T is still the time. In years. But this is for accounts where it's compounded continuously. So if it says we're going to compound the money continuously, use that account or use that formula, okay? So you don't have to know what N is because it's constantly being compounded. That used to be a big thing in the 70s, I think. Like the banks would say, oh, we're going to compound your interest continuously. A lot of times it's not that much of a difference, but it is more money. So, okay, so those are the formulas, and I'll show you how to use them in the next video.